today I've got bags of time. It's so nice talking to people who have other ideas, because this guy came up to me this morning at the campsite asking about my trip, and I sort of said, oh, how about you, you know, what are you here for? And he sort of said, oh, it's the solstice tomorrow. So I said, oh yeah, that's right, 20 to 4 in the morning, isn't it? So I'd looked it up this morning. He said, oh, that's right, yeah, we all come over here for Nest Point. We're the first people to sort of see the sunrise on the solstice. So he kind of planted a seed in my head. Well, today's been another church calling day just for me, really. I haven't filmed much. I did fancy camping down by the coast. So there's 2 campsites down here. This is a big holiday park, and they nearly couldn't fit me in. He sort of said there's a big festival apparently up in Lowestoft, and they're all piling in here. The reason I wanted to come down here is right next to the beach. You turn out the campsite and just go down there and you'll be on Kaiser beach. That was what that guy was telling me yesterday afternoon. This one day they think will be the furthest east point of the country, because as some parts of the coastline are eroding inwards, other bits are expanding outwards by all accounts because of the drift of the sand. So I think it'd be a good place to see the sunrise on the longest day of the year. Well, it's just gone 4 AM on Saturday the 21st. It was the solstice about 25 minutes ago. The summer solstice was actually at 3:42 AM this morning, but sunrise is at 4:30, so I set the alarm for 4 AM. I hope I didn't wake the neighbours up next to me. I think I might have disturbed them. I heard a little bit of noise. Gosh, I can hear a bit of snoring intense as I go by. And the other sound is seagulls and the sea, the tide coming in. I did a bit of a recce last night. Wanted to see how long it took me to get down to the beach. And then I suddenly noticed you can get down to the beach from the campsite, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm obviously having to talk quietly because it's still very early in the morning. That's where we're heading up there, that big tall building there, the tiled roof. That's the Nisa shop. Just beyond that is the seafront. But here we are then, coming up to the sea. And that's Lowestoft and Nest Point up there. As you can see, it's 4:20. Sunrise is at 4:30. You can see that's pretty much where it's going to be. You can just tell it's not far off. I'm going to try and zoom in here. That's 2 times zoom. You may not see it. There's a big wind turbine there, and the little bit of land sticking out is Nest Point. And I can see lots of car headlights. You know, you expect at night, don't you, to see the odd car headlight going along, or the street lights. But there's a lot of car headlights. It looks like they're all gathered up there. That's what the guy at the campsite at Southwold told me. He said a lot of people will congregate there because they want to be the first people to see the sunrise on the solstice morning. He's probably up there himself. And we're not far off. I can see there's a little bit right on the horizon which is kind of redder than the rest of it. It's bigger than the sun's going to be, but I think that's the sun about to come up there. It's like a brighter patch. There's a fox on the beach. It's just caught something. Wow. Can you see it just there? It's going to come behind the bushes. Scarpering off. Out to sea, there's a tanker. That was there last night because I came down here and put my feet in the sea, wandered down to the beach, quite shingly. And then right above it, there's a waning crescent moon. Ah, there's the sun coming, look. It's just coming up. I wonder if I can zoom in. I've gone over to video on my camera now. There's no wind muffle on this, but the zoom is much more powerful. Wow, that's pretty amazing seeing that sun rising above the sea horizon on the shortest day of the year, 4:30. Young couple just come down. That's amazing. It looks huge. I mean, the sun and the moon always does on the horizon, but it looks misshapen. You can see the bow of the circle, but it's either end looks straight, almost like hexagonal, almost like a bad shape. Hares here, flock of birds. That's really nice as the young couples just sat down chatting. You can see they are because she's just pointed her arms. Not on their mobile phones, they're just enjoying the moment. That's good to see. Now you can see the full ball of the sun. Flock of birds flying around it. Solitary seagull looks very orange. That was amazing, just sort of seeing that pre-sunrise brightening like a little slither, and then it just came up almost like misshapen because of the thickness of the atmosphere, isn't it? And when the sun and the moon are near the horizon, they look enormous, and then it appears to shrink as it does its arc through the sky. Now 4:45 AM. What a difference 15 minutes makes. That magical ethereal moment of sunrise has kind of dissipated slowly. It's a few degrees above the horizon. I was at 5 or 6 degrees above the horizon, and the sky's no longer that dramatic pink. It's still reddish around the sun, but that just whole band of glow is gone. The birds are going ballistic. They sense it's the start of a new day. And the sky is pretty much blue now. Sun and the moon. When that guy told me at the campsite about this, I just thought, come on, I'm never ever likely to be over here on the east coast on the Solstice again, or even if I am, I'm never going to be at such a fantastic place to see it. I just thought you're never going to get this opportunity again, especially with good weather as well, because he was saying he's been coming here for 25 years to see this. I came down to do this recce last night. I was so glad I did actually, because I found this little spot here. But I walked down on the beach and I went all the way out to the tide because I just wanted to dip my toe in. Well, that was well worth setting the alarm for. I'm definitely in REM sleep. I was having quite a vivid dream actually, and you know how things connect. When the alarm went off, it was vaguely part of the dream, and then I suddenly came to and realised, oh no, I set my alarm and I said, get the alarm switched off quickly, because you've got family either side of you with your young children. Anyway, Kesselland Beach. Just gone 8 AM and I've just left the campsite. You see the brown sign pointing to it down there, Beach Road. So it runs along there, basically just inland a little bit. So that's where I saw the sunrise this morning. This is Kesselland Beach. I'm fascinated to know what those two little kind of baubles are up on stands. I don't know, I'm sure that'll be explained when I get to Nest Point, so I'm pretty sure there'll be an information sign there telling you about it. If not, I'm just going to look it up because I'm just curious to know what they are. Anyway, the start of, I think it's day 8, Saturday the 21st, longest day of the year. It's still early in the morning. I'm at Lowestoft making my way up the coast. There's this big festival of light here. That's why the campsite was so busy last night. They all piled in there. But I wanted to share a story with you that I came across a few years ago. It was at Easter 1916. I won't go into too much detail, but a German battle fleet came over and started shelling Lowestoft. And it coincided with the Easter uprising in Dublin, and the British Admiralty took it really seriously. They scrambled the fleet up in Scapa Flow to come down because they thought it may be a major incursion, a raid, even an invasion, you know, from twin sides, from the east and the west. It was just absolutely a coincidence. But a big shell from about 2 miles out was fired across, missed the submarine pens, which I think they were aiming for, and hit a terrace of houses, and it failed to go off. And it passed through 14 houses before it came to rest in the 15th. That's the power of those things. Thank goodness nobody was killed or even injured, and it didn't go off. Afterwards, some historians have actually calculated its flight path. I'll try and add a picture of that to this post. And I've been coming past all these terraces and just imagining that shell going through 15 walls. That's really interesting. I came up to the seafront, it's really sunny, there were seats there. I just thought I might as well sit and stare for half an hour, 40 minutes, got time to kill. I could put my clothes out and dry them on the seawall. Anyway, this council worker come along, all in orange, really nice guy, asked about my trip, you know, told him I was a bit interested in history. He was telling me all this fascinating stuff. And I said about the Festival of Light. He said, it used to be a much longer festival, but now, I think they'd had a bit of trouble in the past, people getting drunk and all that, so now it's just during the day, and I think it goes on about 9 PM tonight. I guess that's a sight to behold down on the beach tonight with all the lights. And he was sort of saying also it coincides with the park run for today, which happens every Saturday apparently. And then all these runners started coming by, literally hundreds and hundreds. I've never seen a park run before. Some of my friends I know run them most weeks, and yeah, it's just good carnival atmosphere actually. I also asked them what I thought from down at Kessingland with globes out on stilts. They're actually like huts. Asked him what they're all about, and he said they're Kitty Hawk hotels. I said, what, birds? And he said, yep, that's right. They started getting Kitty Hawks flying around the harbour and the pier, and they wanted to encourage them, so they built those up there that's specifically for wildlife and birds. That's amazing, isn't it? Just on the southern jetty of the pier, just a few fishermen up here. See the nylon of the lines catching the sunlight. There's the harbour. He said it's lovely along here. I was going to come here anyway, but he said it's worth coming along here. Then we're right at the very end. This is about as far as we can get. You can see there's a lighthouse at either side of the jetty. This is as far as we can get. And that's looking out at the Kitty Hawk hotels. That's looking back the way we've just come. Whereas that side's nice, looking back all along the holiday seafront. This is more utilitarian. This is the business end. So the inlet with the lighthouse either side, wind turbine in the background, then there's all these little inlets. There was some yachting marinas in there as well. Here are seagulls everywhere. What a beautiful, beautiful day. This is so nice. looking back at Lowestoft. Then as I turn round, that's looking up towards Great Yarmouth, the way we're going. Can you hear those blades just cutting through the air? Here we are at Nest Point. I've just came along a quiet industrial road behind that factory, came down here, and this is Britain's most easterly point, Nest Point, symbolised by that big circle down there. You can just hear the wind blowing, the sea lapping against the sea defence wall, and just the overpowering sound is those blades just slicing through the air. Right, let's go and have a look at Nest Point. And here we are, Nest Point, furthest point east in the UK. Now, I'm guessing this morning at that sunrise, whoever was along that little jetty there, that pier where that guy's going to fish from, they were the first people in the United Kingdom to see the sunrise on Midsummer's Day. Now, I'm told a lot of people come here, and I think I witnessed that because I saw lots of white lights, look like headlights. I expect they were pulling into this car park, and I was seeing it down the coast. I could see what looked like a lot of traffic. Then as the sun came up, the white lights stopped, so I guess there's people driving down. As I was coming out the campsite this morning, I just went over to the seafront and just stop and stare, and this lady walked by with her dog, older lady, and she said, "Oh, wonderful morning." I said, "Oh, isn't it ever lovely?" She said, "It was even nicer this morning, 4:30, I had it all to myself, watching the sunrise on Midsummer's Day. I set the alarm especially for 4 AM. I said, "So did I saw it from the other side of the campsite." So we shared that experience. She said, "We're lucky we live here, we see it every day if it's clear, but there's something special about the solstice." So I'm guessing people on the east side do realise that they've got that little edge over us on the west. They see it actually rising above a straight line, whereas over in the west where I live, even if you're up early to see the sunrise, it's coming up behind hills. It sets against the straight line of the sea, but it doesn't rise, not where I live anyway. I'm just enjoying this so much, and my cycle route is heading along the seafront. I believe I'm just following the white line. There's a big wind farm out there, but I can also see the built up area of Great Yarmouth, my destination, rapidly approaching. So I'm just savouring every moment of this, just letting it all sink in. A big wind farm out at sea, but I can also see a few miles up the road is Great Yarmouth, which is what I'm heading for as my ultimate destination. So I'll be there later this afternoon, have a good look round, and then I think I'm going to head for the racecourse campsite. I've stayed there before, it was really nice. It's probably going to be busy being a Saturday night in June, but hopefully they'll find room for me. And then tomorrow night, of course, I've got the travel lodge. So my last night of camping on this trip. I just can't get enough of this. I'm just trying to savour every moment, every second. Even here you can just hear, it sounds like an aircraft going over, the constant cutting of the air of those blades. If that monument, if that circular monument along there is Nest Point, marking the furthest east location in the United Kingdom, that guy fishing it out on that little pier, on that jetty, is the furthest person east in the UK at this exact moment in time, which makes me the second most furthest person east in the United Kingdom at this moment in time. Saturday the 21st of June, Midsummer's Day. Number 2. This is wonderful along this top of this seawall, this sea defence. It's actually part of a Sustrans cycle route, part of the East Coast route, I think. Number 1, N1. Keep seeing all the signs for it. It's not even 11 AM yet, because I was up so early. I made sure I didn't start packing up until the families either side of me were awake with their children. This is my view. Out across the North Sea. That sun's so strong on my neck. I've already put suntan cream on. I'm gonna have to put some more on, and on my right elbow. It's usually the left, isn't it, over in the west. My right is cutting it here. Wow, look at that line of trees. They're just like a little V, isn't there? With that white lighthouse sticking through. Lovely along here. Well, my route tried to send me inland slightly, but I thought, why on earth would I want to do that when there's this here? And it seems to finish here. I'm not sure if it goes around the corner, but I can see lots of people walking along underneath the cliffs. I'm just going to override the route that I've got, see if I can ride into Yarmouth that way. I saw that ice cream van, I thought I'd have to stop and have a soft whippy 99, which I did. I thought, well, I might as well sit here, take my shoes off, put my sandals on, dry some clothes. It's virtually dry already, but that just means everything's ready for tomorrow then. Beautiful, beautiful day. And because I'm by the sea, you're getting a little bit of breeze coming off it, because earlier in the week it's very, very intense, and I like that, I'm not complaining, but it was quite difficult to manage the water really, whereas this is just, the breeze is keeping me cool, and I'm just absolutely loving this. Just past a signpost for Great Yarmouth, 7 3/4 miles. I've just stopped to have a look at this. This wonderful building and the garden next door. Wow, look at all those classic signs from my youth. Shell, Castrol. Wow, it's quite a collection. British Leyland, gosh, Mini Cooper. Sinclair Aircraft. VE Day, Prize Chocolate. This garage was formerly Corton's Village Stores and Newsagents until 1992. Oh wow, look at the sign there as well. Gosh, in memory of Lieutenant Commander Roy Edwards, 39 years old, and Ensign John Howard, United States Navy, 24, who were killed on the 11th of June 1942 while defusing a magnetic mine on Corton Beach. And there's a list of the World War I dead and the World War II dead. God, it's a lovely little place. Even got a knitted hat to the post box. I just really want to go and have a look at the garden without causing a traffic accident. Wow, reminds me of Mad Eli's garden. He used to have a basement flat set down about 10-15 feet in Great Poultney Street, and it was just like this. It would be a tourist attraction. Not everybody knew it was there, but the locals knew it was there, and sometimes the tourists would drift down. You just chuck money down, and nearly all the pots were for collection for charities. Wow. Wonderful. Wow, what a find. I've just been looking at Google Maps. This is Gorleston by the sea. once you get past that harbour, you're actually into Great Yarmouth. So my travel lodge is at Gorleston by Sea. It's down there. In fact, I came up to T junction, and I could have gone left to my travel lodge, but I've turned right to come this way. And I think it's about 5 miles from here to the station. But I've just done a Google Map search for the Carlton Hotel. It's 3.6 miles. So that's where I'm heading next. Then we'll go to another place of interest connected to the First World War, and then I'll make my way up later in the afternoon up to the racecourse.
Conditions look pretty good. Onto the expanded mesh. Little blip on the way in. Twist the throttle, we go up and over, just using that 27-degree landing system to bring us in pretty smoothly. Now the fingers crossed work, so keep them crossed. As he goes up and over, yeah, got a dial, love that. Last but not least, we'll just get our first third rider up and over. He's coming a little bit into a little bit of the sport of freestyle motocross. The left-hand side into that double cam position.
So I've just made my way onto the seafront. I was heading for Pleasure Beach. I'm heading up to the Carlton Hotel, the first point of interest. But the security guy said, "Oh, just walk through it, it'll all be kicking off in a second." So there's all these young motorcyclists doing these big jumps. So just along from all the high octane petrol head stuff, and right opposite Wellington Pier and Sea Life and the big wheel, we've got, this is the Carlton Hotel. But in the First World War, it was the residence of Lieutenant Egbert Capri, Royal Navy, between 1916 and 18. He was the heir to the Capri's chocolate business, and he shot down 2 Zeppelins. It says there, who with Sub-Lieutenants Fane and Paulding, Royal Naval, shot down Zeppelin L-21 on the 28th of November 1916, and then again on the 2nd of August 1918 with Lieutenant Lecky, Royal Naval. Lieutenant Capri shot down Zeppelin L-70 off Yarmouth. So it's always puzzled me really. They're a famous Quaker family, yet he shot down 2 Zeppelins. And if you think about it, there was no parachutes in those days, and the only way to shoot down Zeppelins from an aircraft was with Buckingham bullets, incendiary bullets. So basically they got up as high as they could, fired incendiary bullets into the Zeppelins to ignite them. However many soldiers were on board that airship, you know, it was certain death. They either burnt to death or they jumped to their death. And that kind of puzzled me, you know, the moral dilemma really, a Quaker performing acts like that. But I've read up quite a bit and I think I understand it, but not well enough to explain it, to be honest. But what a coincidence, that is literally a couple of streets away from Britain's first ever air raid that killed people. This is the location of the first ever air raid on UK soil where people were killed. On the 19th of January 1915, this building received a direct hit from a bomb dropped from a Zeppelin airship. Samuel Smith and Martha Taylor were killed. They were the first fatalities in Great Britain caused by an air raid. But it was not the first bombs dropped on England. That actually happened from a biplane where a single bomb was literally lifted over the side and dropped towards Dover Castle, although it missed. I could put a link to a really good explainer video about that in the description below. Well, it's gone 7 PM and I'm on the campsite at the racecourse at Great Yarmouth. I was hoping to get here because I'd stayed here before, and with that big motorcycle event, and it was even bigger than I thought. It wasn't just motorcycles. The further north I came, I realised it's lots of souped up cars as well, dragsters, that sort of thing. It was clearly a huge motoring event. I thought, especially lots of bikers as well, and scooter riders, probably gonna head for the campsite. So I got here and he sort of said there's one place left, so they booked me in. Really friendly, really nice. I was hoping I could stay, so this is perfect. And there's my tent now. You can see it's quite busy here. Last time I was here was on a Monday or a Tuesday in the week, and I think there's about me and 2 other tents actually, and I didn't realise there was so many caravans over there. I didn't realise it's such a big field actually. They're having a quiz night over there, an open air quiz night. It's just a good buzz here actually. It's mostly caravans and camper vans. One other tent, I haven't seen them. They must be out for the day. There's my little plot. Last night camping on this trip. Tomorrow night will be a travel lodge. So got myself a couple of beers from a local store. Just had my meal. I finished that 4th Wayfarer meal that I bought. You know, they don't weigh much individually, but when you sort of bring a few of them, I think I bought 4. You know, it's substantial weight, so it's been good to kind of reduce that in the bulk. Beefed it up with some rice as well, so that was a really filling meal. Got 2 bottles of beer. I'm just going to chill out here and watch the sun go down. Well, it's coming up to 10 PM now on Saturday, June the 21st, Midsummer's Day. I had a fantastic night's camping here. It's really nice. It's really busy. And yes, wild camping's nice. And I'm quite introverted. I like going off, finding myself and being by myself. I class myself as a loner, but I never get lonely, if that makes sense. But there is a time when you kind of have to come back and rejoin the world. And it's just nice to interact here actually. Say hello to people walking their dogs. And there's a nice lady parked behind me actually. She's camping in her Jeep by the look of it. And she just offered to charge my power pack for me, which is really nice. And so this trip's been campsites every night actually. The average has been £20 a night. I think it was £21.20 here, unusual amount. Had £18 the other night. Southwold, when I expected it to be really expensive, and it was cheap, much cheaper than I thought it would be. The cheapest one I had was probably at my favourite site, the Fishing Lakes, £10. I even sort of said to him, "Are you sure? Is that all you want?" You know, I kind of almost felt I had such a good time. I wanted to give him more. I really did. I wanted to pay him more. No, mate, that's the going rate for backpackers and cyclists. And I think the most expensive has been £25.50, and I didn't begrudge that either, because that was a fantastic night. That was at what was it, the Warren, or the one? No, forget what it's called now, but it's a really good one. Really friendly couple. I had a nice chat with them the next morning. Yeah, so wild camping's been good, and I'll probably still do it, but I've definitely got back into campsites. And yes, I like the farm ones where it's nice and quiet and peaceful, but I've also come to like these really busy ones as well. As I sort of said, this lady just offered to charge my power pack for me, and she just sat in her car, seats back down, just looking at her phone. Just really, really nice experience. So tonight's the last night camping. It's been absolutely fantastic, this trip. Tomorrow night's going to be in a travel lodge, and that'll be good as well. So yeah, Saturday the 21st, my 8th day camping, and I've really, really loved every minute of this trip. This is my first proper long tour as well on the new giant Tough Road SLR. I've done some hot tent camping, I've done day rides, I've done overnight camps, but this is the first real proper tour of many, I hope. And the bike stood up really, really well. A couple of issues actually. I caught a twig in between the mudguard stays the other day, and it just threw the mudguard stays out a little bit, and I just had to kind of bend the mudguard back over because it was doing that whirring. It just, the plastic was just very, very slightly rubbing the tyre, but it sounds awful, just that it resonates. And then today I just stopped at a gate for a call of nature. I must have lent a bike against something, I didn't see it, and the minute I started off, all the gears were out of line, they were rubbing and everything, and I suddenly realised I'd just twisted the front mech round slightly on the seat tube, and so I just pulled in the next driveway that had some shade, and I could sort of see the chain was just, well, I could see the derailleur was just completely out of line with the chain, so I just like slightly undid the hex screw and just turned it slightly, and I thought I'd probably have to have several goes at getting it exactly right, and I got it right first time. So 2 little hiccups. One was just a chance encounter with a bit of wood, and the second one was probably my fault leaning the bike up against something. And apart from that, it's absolutely been fine. Really enjoyed it. So to that person who stole my bike last year, yes, it hurt at the time, and being a victim of crime is absolutely horrible. It really is horrible. But you actually did me a favour, mate. You really did. It forced me to buy a new bike, a better one as well. Anyway, I turned the camera a little bit. The lady who charged my battery power pack for me has just got out of her car. I don't want to get people's faces on video. Not everybody wants to be on video, and I respect people's privacy. So it's been a fantastic day today. Absolutely really good. Coming across that motorcycle event as well, seeing all those bikes going up over the ramps, and like some of them were doing figure of eights, and the commentator was really ramping up the audience, including me, and one of the guys was like 18, and I thought, wow, just beggars belief really, doesn't it? An 18-year-old doing that. And then he said the oldest one was 42, which to me is not that old, but I suppose for doing that sort of thing it is quite old, isn't it? Most people by the time they're 42 have grown out of taking those sort of risks. Wow, just enjoying this. So sunrise was at 4:30 this morning. I literally saw it rise above the horizon, and sunset tonight was 21:21, and I was watching my phone exactly at that moment as it went down. You couldn't see it go down because it had gone down behind the big stadiums behind me. But yeah, I've been up all day on the longest day, so I think it's time for bed. Good night, I'll see you in the morning.